everyone. Welcome to the GardenStateHSWrestling.com podcast. And here for all the back points, whatever you want to call it. We're cool. We're flowing with going the flow here. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Obviously, nice holiday meal we just had recently. Some wrestlers got to enjoy it with some of the reshuffling. For the latest update, wrestling has been moved to March 1st to start. I know there's been a lot of stuff this past week with Governor Pumpkin-Headed Dipshit making his ruling about how people can no longer have indoor sports till 2021. We're actually good with that. That was already taken care of. That's more of a hockey thing, and they're kind of pushed back anyway. So it's kind of putting a hat on a hat, as a famous person would say, just kind of postponing everything to 2021. We do have some clarification, though, on how everything will break down. Once they have the season, the way it will work, and I know this will work for the NJAC, is in conference matches, meaning the conference matches in your division, those are mandatory. You must do those first. Whereas in previous years, you can mix and match, and you would have, for example, a Whippany Park versus Hanover Park right around Christmas and vice versa. They want to get the conference matches done first. So most conferences, 5. I think American division is 7. There's some that are 4, which, I mean, I don't know what we're trying to do here, but you got to get those conference matches done first. Once those conference matches are done, there's going to be a matrix of teams you can pick from in the area because they obviously don't want to travel too far. Then they'll set their schedule that way. Now, this is, like I said, this is all in flux. We have the green light for March 1st. Who knows? We can get the tap on the back and say, hold up. You know, so we're hoping and we're seeing what we can do to make sure this season goes off without a hitch. Well, any more of less of a hitch than we have right now. You know, we want to make sure that happens. And just kind of, as we'll talk in a few minutes with Coach Devon Engleberger from Whippany Park, who kind of gives his thoughts on everything. And him and I have always had a great relationship talking about wrestling. So he's going to give his thoughts on that. But he's going to talk a little bit about what his team wants to do and how we think everything will go with the season as far as what's the best for everybody. Don't want to forget our sponsor. We have more sponsors, but we got one. We got the main one. Dan Warnikoff, Champion Athletes. Nutrition. It's a must. Like I've said before, and I say it again, I was a fat kid. I didn't have to lose weight. But when I was in high school, they put plastic bags on kids, garbage bags. They ran around sweating. This is the way you do it. You basically follow his plan, and you'll lose weight safely, and you won't feel hungry. You won't have that exhaustion. He's proven winner. Patrick Glory. Bunch of the kids from Del Bar, and not multiple states he's dealt with for wrestlers. And it's not even just wrestling. It's not even sports. It's anyone who wants to safely lose weight that way and have a nutrition plan that they can follow that's fun, and it's not hard to do. So go to championathletes.com, Dan Warnikoff, one of the great products, and it's a proven winner. Now let's go real quick to that interview I did with Coach Engleberger. Joining me for our interview this week is a coach who's actually been on the upswing with some great years the last few years. Head coach Devon Engleberger from Whippany Park. Coach, thank you for joining me for a few minutes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Talk a little bit about your squad. You know, for some people who may not know, Whippany Park, especially the last few years, have been on a great run, making it to the team sectional finals. You know, having some hard-fought matches with Delaware Valley. Just kind of your program and kind of what you're trying to instill in the squad there.
Yeah, you're right. The last couple of years, we had, I thought a lot of success team-wise and individual-wise. We were in the state section finals 2 years ago. Last year, we lost in the semis. We had a great senior class last year, and probably one of the better to come through our school. I've been there 8-9 years. So up there with one of the best as far as not just the numbers and the depth, but the individual. So, we were definitely carried the last couple of years by some of those big names. Thomas Digliano, he graduated, and even the year before him was Sean Savercool, two guys that were big leaders for us over the last few years. Not just those two, but we had 7, 8, 9 seniors in the lineup last year that great leaders for the younger guys, again, on and off the mat. So we're hoping that a lot of that stuff brushed off on the younger guys coming into this year. Small senior class. We only have a few guys that are seniors that have been on the team for 4 years. So, it's, again, speaking into the future, 3-4 months, we're definitely going to be leaning on our junior class. But I think what I'm trying to instill is, guys that have a good work ethic, guys that come together as a team. One thing that I've noticed, the better teams are the teams that are close as individual. And I think anybody will tell you that, whether it's a High Point or Hanover Park or Roxbury, whatever team that is having good team success, they're going to tell you that their guys work together and they support each other. And the kids, you don't see that every year. Sometimes you have a team made up of a bunch of individuals and they care more about themselves than the team. But when you could get a team of hardworking guys that have been around, that have experience, and that care about each other and care about the team winning, that's when you really have success. And as a coach, I mean, that's what you really want to be around. You want to, a great team where you have 10, 11, 12, 14 guys that are that you can count on and can count on each other. That's what makes it fun, and that's what makes it an enjoyable season. So.
Now, I know it's been trying to change a little bit of the culture, obviously, the last couple of years with the success. I know I was at one of your big matches with Hanover Park. I think it was last year before, and the gym was packed and the kids were loving it. So, I mean, the school's getting really behind the squad. So it's really good to see that, it's come a long way. Because, I mean, I know there were some lean times at Whippany Park, especially kind of being in the shadow a little bit with those good Hanover Park teams. But now you guys are kind of battling. Talk about a little bit about you. We talked about Thomas Stigliano. Saw him as a freshman. You would kind of give me the heads up, full disclosure beforehand. This kid's going to be really good coming in next year. And we did the preview, and just how he not only lived up to your expectations, but just what he did for the program as a whole in his 4 years at the school.
Yeah. I actually remember that. I remember talking to you when he was prior to the start of the season, maybe the summer coming in, when he was an incoming freshman. And I remember you had talked to his father or him. There was some conversation between me, you, and his dad or whatever. And, I just know that he was on your radar back then, and I knew him. And, you have kids, at any school and in any town, there's kids that are good in middle school that don't pan out. Right? It happens all the time. Maybe they want to play football, or maybe they just steer away from the sport. Maybe they get much bigger. Maybe they don't get any bigger and they stay small, or they just don't develop. But, he was a guy that for 4 years, he continued to improve. And I mean, he came in as a middleweight, and he didn't really get much bigger. He was a 152 pounder. And as a senior, he was a 160 pounder. But on the mat, I mean, he improved every single year. Unfortunately, last year, he finished up and he lost in the blood round at States. So, but I mean, that was he had a good postseason run last year. He made it to the region finals. He won 3 district titles. So for him, that was a great thing for individual success. But like you said, team-wise, I think what I was explaining before, as far as what you want in a program of kids supporting each other and stuff like that, if you can have somebody to be a leader figure, on the team that kids look up to, whether it's for their accomplishments or their work ethic or just their personality or their level of respect and things like that, that it's good things are going to happen. And that's one of the examples of that. Thomas wasn't a kid that he's very mild mannered. You could talk to him. He's not excitable. He doesn't get worked up. He's not a pump up the crowd, flex, or anything like that. He's pretty mild mannered. So he's not the guy in the room to be barking orders, roll up the mats, or go do this or go harder. He's just quiet, consistent, and he would perform on the mat. He like I said, he got better each year. He went from an under the radar, consistent freshman and sophomore to, by the time he was a junior, senior, I mean, he was the guy that we built our lineup around, and especially last year. And last year we broke the school win record. So we had 20 wins dual meet wise last year, and that was the most in school history. And the year before, we made it to the state section finals. We tied last year for the conference championship. But all of those team accolades, it comes from somewhere, right? It's not just one person. It's a team, and when you have somebody like that could sort of act as the glue for the team, as the type of personality you want to put out on the mat, the type of personality you want in the wrestling room, And in the locker room, that's what you get. And he, like I said, he got better each year, and to the point where when he's a senior and we are game planning for another team, all right, well, who's their best guy between these three weights? All right, we're going to put Stiggs on him. All right, who's the best guy? Do we need to weigh him up so we could bump him up 2 weight classes? Do we cut him down to 160? He gave us all those options. And when you have somebody like that in the middle of the lineup that can cover 3 weights and doesn't complain about it, that's good. That's a big thing. Like I said, as far as trying to get somebody that can mimic what you want as a coach in the room and personality wise, I'm not a big yeller. I'm not a get the crowd into it type of a coach. I'm not really into that. And I think Thomas and other guys from last year, Jason Hill, Franco Palomo, those guys, similar personality, kind of quiet, do their work and walk off the mat. And I think that's cool to see. I think when you have kids like that can work hard as an individual, perform, and get off the mat with no extracurriculars, no flexing, stuff like, I think that's cool to see, that sort of, that's how it should be done. That's how wrestling should be done. And it's cool to see kids like that.
Now, Thomas might not be excitable, but if you ever saw his father's Facebook Live videos from the matches, his dad gets into it a little bit. But,
Dad gets into it. Mom gets into it.
Really into it.
I mean, his sister was she was a stat girl for a few years. So yeah, it's a wrestling family, and they're supportive of not just him. They're supportive of the team and the wrestling family that we have in our town and our high school. So I appreciate all of them. As far as that the family has done a lot for the program in town for the last 5-6 years. So.
Switching gears, heading into this year, unprecedented year with just everything going on, with how stuff's been switched and changed and everything going on. How do you keep your guys motivated? Because, I don't know if anybody knows it, you coach at Whippany Park, but you work at Booton, so you're not in the actual school to see these kids when they're there and such. How do you keep them going and keep them motivated so that way when we can start practicing, the kids are ready and you're not dealing with that kind of letdown, or they're not gym ready?
Yeah, it is tough. And like you said, I don't know how many other coaches are in my boat. I'm sure there's some. I know Jay at Pequannock, he doesn't teach inside Pequannock. I'm sure there's others that I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head. But that does present a challenge this year or any year when I'm not in the building. Whippany has been on all virtual, and then they were in school out. So they've been in school a little bit. And when I'm not there to talk to them, to kind of, talk to them in person, when you have to do things over the phone and sending out emails and text messages, it just creates another bit of a challenge. So I guess my message to them when I talk to the guys on the team is I try to not be set in stone, because nothing's set in stone. I could tell them we're going to start on December 4th, and then it changes. You could tell January 15th, March 15th, it can always change. So, I try and keep reminding them that anything is better than nothing. If we come out of the season with 15 dual meets, it's better than nothing. If we have 10 dual meets, it's still better than nothing. I guess you just have to constantly reevaluate what's going to happen and what a goal is and what we want to accomplish this year and get out of this season. A typical goal might be to place in the county and then win the district, or team wise to win a state match, and none of those things are happening anymore. So again, just having to reevaluate goals. What makes it tough for any of the kids that are close to a milestone or are looking ahead to a milestone, like Dean Savercool, for one. He's a senior. I think if the season starts, he's at 95 wins, something pretty short of 100. So, which would normally be a good week, right? Say you have a quad and 2 duels or something, or a Christmas tournament. That's something that again, 100 wins is 100 wins. It's a big accomplishment. It's a goal a lot of kids set out. And if you put the work in and you have success for 3 years, and that's on the horizon and it's attainable goal, and I know it means a lot to his father. His brother got it a couple years ago, and Dean might not admit it as much, but I know it's important to him and it's important to his family. And it's important to the program, to our program, to have another kid, get there, to get to 100 wins. So again, that's just something to just one little more piece to the puzzle here. It's like, we need to get in at least 6 matches to give him a chance. But, I mean, he's a senior. Then I have a junior, Todd Walsh, who's on pace right now to get to a milestone. And, you need a good junior year to stay on pace. And that, not that you're backtracking if we have a 15-match season, but it's just going to make it really challenging for a kid like that. So it's tough. I try to, these returning guys, I try to touch base with them, every week, every couple of weeks, if not the wrestler themselves, but with their parents, and just, try and give them, as I always try to be honest with the kids. Even on a different year, on a different situation, I try to be honest with the kids. I don't want to be the one to, we're going to beat this team, we're going to do that. I try to be honest because I think that's important. So, I'll tell them if, this is the case. I don't think we're going to start this week. We're going to probably get pushed back. I don't think we're going to have, X amount of matches. We might be limited. But it's important that they do stay motivated to get out of the season as much as possible. And even if it means lowering the amount of matches and stuff like that, and focusing going forward. It's tough. It's very tough.
Now, finally, you're talking about that with the season and stuff like that. How do you plan for the season? I mean, obviously scheduling's up in the air. You don't know really what's going on. Is it sort of almost like you get a green light 2 weeks before, here's practice, so start putting something together, or is there like a plan set up already? I mean, how do you guys have it set up?
Yeah, that's you're probably not too far off when you said a green light closer to the season. Most coaches, if you ask them, states ends back in March, and they have most of their season filled in, right? You've been down, at Bally's, you've been down in Atlantic City, and sometimes you have coaches there, they got their phone out and they're typing in their schedule for next year, or they have a calendar at the district seating meeting and they fill things in. And a lot of coaches like consistency, especially when it comes to the multi-team events. Hey, we're going to keep that quad, right? So yeah, we're going to go to Jefferson first week in January, and then we're going to be at the Lenape tournament this day, and then a Randolph quad. You kind of, as a coach, you have to find out what's best for your team wise and individual wise. And if it means keeping the same routine every year, that's what you want to do. So for most coaches, I bet if you ask them, they had 90% of their schedule filled in the springtime, and then districts got shuffled. So that kind of put into another wrench into everything. We spent 2 years with the same teams. I was with Mendham, at Morristown, with Kearney and Hackettstown. You spend a couple years with these coaches and you get to know them and you get duels with them and you see them at districts and regions, and then the districts change, so that gets blown up. So then you try and pick up new duels. But anyway, back to your question though. I know I went off. So
No, most people don't even know that, because with everything that used to be, you were in your districts for so long that you essentially had, when it was all District 9, you knew you were going to wrestle Hanover Park and the ones that were in your district and your conference, and you were picking up the extra matches to help for the seeding. And now that every 2 years, you don't know what's going to happen, so you make these matches, and it's like.
So so I mean, I think it's to redistrict in the summer. I think it's kind of late, just because, as I said, most coaches are 9 months ahead. Back in March and April, they're finishing their schedule plans. But anyway, so that got thrown out of the way once COVID hit, and then we find out that it's going to get pushed back into January. So for a few weeks, I'm getting talk to Stan Zione. I talk to our conference matrix gets set, but that only gives you 5 matches, at least in the NJAC. So, I mean, for me, that's five dual meets, and then I can pick up another 8 or 10, depending on what my school district will allow. So, yeah, I talked to Mountain Lakes, I talked to Morristown, I talked to Rand, try and pick up these duels, and then that gets thrown out. I even talked to my athletic director. Hey, I got some of these dates. Should I even give them to you? He's like, wait until next week. Wait until, and then, again, we penciled things in because it didn't end up meaning anything. Now we're going forward. A new matrix just came out. And I talked to a coach this afternoon about setting up a match for April. So who knows? I mean, I could put up a whole program, put a whole schedule in place and have everything set, and it might change again. So, it's just another challenge. Again, my attitude towards it is, whatever we get is better than nothing. And again, I know other coaches might feel differently. When you're a team that you're contending for a state title, or top ranking in the state, or guys, you got multiple state medalists and things like that, you probably see it a little bit differently. I think probably at a smaller school where I have a lot of my athletes are doing multiple sports. They do football and they do lacrosse, or track and things like that. Probably maybe I'm just looking at it a little bit differently than somebody else. That to me, if my guys can get in 12 or 15 matches, that's better than nothing. At least for the underclassmen, they're not going to have a year and a half off the mat, or 2 full years off the mat, and and try and just reevaluate your goals. If we're going to have 12 duels, well, now what's my goal for this? I can't have a goal to be a district champ, so I have a goal to win X amount of matches. I have a goal to go undefeated. Again, that's all I could say for now, because you never know what's going to happen moving forward.
Yeah, it seems to be a season in flux, but thank you for taking a few minutes. I know it's been a really weird season, and just so far, like with everything going on with school, it's been on, it's been off, it's been on, it's been off. Season 2, season 3, who knows? But stay safe. Good luck. The best to you and your family.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be seeing each other mat side come the spring, which will be a weird thing too. Usually by spring, it's like we're outside doing our own thing. This will be our season now.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be different. A lot will change, but I think if the time comes and we're April 1st and we're at a match, I think everybody, is going to be relieved. It's as much as people can want more and more and more. I think if we're on a mat sometime in April, people are going to be happy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it'll be one of those, everybody's so worried about something happening and not getting it done that I think when it actually happens, people look back and, in a few years from now, people won't even be talking about it'll be another season. I think everybody's so worried about that upcoming and will it, won't it, that when it happens, it'll be fine.
Well, it's funny, like you said, that, looking forward a few years, I mean, just think if there's a lot that can be affected during this year. I know our rec teams, right? Middle school teams canceled the season. Our rec, no wrestling, so if that happens and you're at the younger levels and, these, between 8, 9, 10 years old, if you miss out on a whole season, you
might not come back.
You might not come back. So that's a discouraging thing. That's one thing that, again, for me in my situation with a smaller town and smaller school, we need retention, at the grade school level. And when you have kids that, wrestling's not something that, who's your favorite pro wrestling team? You don't see this on TV. It's not like basketball or football that if your flag football league is canceled or your midget game is canceled, you can still watch it on TV to stay excited about it and just retain that interest. Wrestling's a different situation. When you're 8, 9, 10 years old, and especially if colleges are canceling, it's going to be tough to keep a kid that, like I said, if they're a multi-sport athlete and they do 2, 3 things, and for an entire season they didn't have wrestling, who's to say that they come back the following year? So
yeah,
I think that it's just going to take a lot of work from everybody. If these younger levels miss out, got to really regroup next year and push it hard for next season to get the kids back and get the numbers back up. I thought for a while in the fall, I was thinking that, wrestling should be in good shape because it's one-on-one. I guess that was kind of me being ignorant to think that, Well, I mean, you got football is 11 on 11. You got 22 people there at once. Basketball, you got 10 people on a court. But wrestling, it's 1-on-1, so you have less people. But I guess not everybody sees it that way.
Well, they've even said though with wrestling, the way wrestling's been from what they've seen, I don't know, I didn't hear the numbers, but I don't think there was a huge outbreak at the Super 32. As far as I think there was a little bit, but not as bad as other sports. But I mean, I think wrestling's getting a rep because people go, oh, wrestling, oh no, it's and so far I haven't seen that uptick that you would see in other sports. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's been any wrestling related events that have had an outbreak, whereas other sports might have had one.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's so hard to, neither of us are scientists or medics or something. So I don't know where, what spreads it more. I don't think it's skin to skin or sweat. I don't think that's what passes it. So, I know some people that look at it as, well, you got two people sweating on each other. Well, that's not, you're no more likely to get it.
It's supposed to, you cough on somebody, it is, but now it's not. I don't know what's going on. Who knows what's going on? It's a CBA. It's like one of those. You would notice being a pro wrestling fan. You say that Roddy Piper says once they know the answers, I change the questions. That seems to be how it transmits. It's one way, and then when you figure it out, it's like, oh no, we mean this way. So I don't know. I'm hoping they figure something out and can get everybody back on the mat, because like he says, you're not only looking at something with football is easy to pick up, baseball is easy to re-pick up. You lose that generation of kids for wrestling, you might not have to worry about it, because you're not going to have those kids coming back no matter what you say.
Right. And like I said, I mean, it's different. It depends on everybody has a different goal for wrestling, right? So some people look at it as, if there's no state tournament, why do I want to do it this year? Or what's the point of having wrestling if there's no state tournament? Well, there's a lot of wrestlers that out there whose goal is short of being a state champ. You could still have what's considered a successful wrestling season, but by some kids' term, you win X amount of matches, or what I'm saying. I don't want to.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I don't want to word it the wrong way. That again, some people look at it as if there's no individual tournament, what's the point of the season? Well, there's still a lot more that goes in. You can still get good competition, because not everybody is going to roll through, go 15-0 and pin everybody. If you're a kid who last year went 5-15, well, then you could still see why you could get something out of getting 15 matches this year, turn that into going 10-5, then that's a job well done. Then it's good for you going forward. So again, some people are in a different situation. I know, Joey Oliveri from Hanover Park. And I talked to Branham. I mean, he's a prime example of a kid. He's already got a scholar. He's going to go to Rutgers next year.
Yeah.
And if we're stuck into a local in-conference 15-match schedule for this year, tough for a guy like that to be motivated for that season. And he's a kid, so I don't want to put his name out there, but you know what I'm saying.
That's what I was saying. I understand that completely, because
complimentary to a kid like that he's
for that.
Yeah.
The kids who are like winning the MCT big, easily, and then you're wrestling the same. It's like, what does it motivate? Because obviously kids like that,
exactly.
Using Joey, they're the ones that want to go down and win the beast. They're the ones that want to win those big national type things, those big state things. And it's tough to say, hey, I know you want to go down here and win another state title, but you're going to wrestle all the local kids in the area that
right.
Beat up your whole.
Again, so for a guy like that, it's a little bit, it's going to be harder for somebody like that to be motivated when if he's restricted to, you can't go any farther than 20 miles, and you might get forfeits, and you might not be challenged. But again, not everybody is of his caliber. There's going to be kids that can find some positive in having a short local season. And I hope that we could find a balance for everybody, and whether it's NJSIAA sponsored events come fall or winter, I would think, because I know you things are starting to pop up at local clubs or out of state, and there's going to be these other events, and there's going to be tournaments that people can go to, even if it's not affiliated with the school or with the state. There's going to be opportunities for kids to to wrestle at in other situations. So I hope for everybody that there could be a balance, that everybody can get some positives out of it, and teams, individuals, and the studs and the mid-tier guys, and even the lower level guys. Everybody, hopefully there's some goal and positive that can come out of this. But
I'm hoping at the end of the day, like we said, it is a positive, and we have a good season, and everybody's happy, healthy. And Coach, again, thank you for your time. If, like you said, I look forward to seeing you Matt's side, and if you need anything, don't hesitate to give me a yell.
all right, you got it. Thanks. Nice seeing you, bud.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you so much for the time to Coach Engleberger. Special thanks. I know it's a little late in the afternoon, not to give away what time we're filming, but I was trying to work our schedules for him to give us that time and be able to talk a little bit about wrestling in this crazy time. It was nice to have. You're going to have some podcasts coming up. We're going to be doing one of these each week. We want to make sure we have everything out to you guys so you know what's going on. Make sure everybody's kept abreast of the situations that are coming up. We're going to try to do a little more guests. Another thing I'd like to do, and I know we're going to do it next week, but if you want to tweet me at Morris County HSW or email me at admin@morriscountyhswrestling.com, we are going to do a question and answer segment. So send me your questions, any questions, what you want to know, what you want to do. I know we did this last year and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I like listening to the questions. No questions too stupid. Trust me, there's different levels with beginner and everything in the wrestling. Any questions you like answered, please let me send them our way, and we'll definitely take care of them. Follow us on all our social media. As I said, at Morris County HSW. We're on MorrisCountyHSWrestling.com, Sussex County HSWrestling.com, Hunterdon County HSWrestling.com, Warren County HSWrestling.com, and Garden State HSWrestling.com. We're also on YouTube under Morris County HSW, and we're on Instagram, which I don't remember the name, but I'm pretty sure it's Morris County HSW. Like I said, we want to try to do the best we can to keep you guys informed with what we're doing. And as we get closer, we want to ramp it up. But just everybody stay safe out there. Enjoy. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and have a safe Merry Christmas. We'll see you before then. But for my podcast man, the great Jared, I'm Donald J. Brower. We'll see you next time.